Hello, Chameleon Academy. Yes, I am out here enjoying the extra humidity we're getting here in California. That is why you have things like Chameleon Academy hoodies. And yes, I am out here. It's night and it's raining. Why in the world, Bill, are you outside recording your vlog? Well, because it is nighttime. And Yvette, my wife, is in her Fant room. She, for those who don't know, Yvette, my wife, Misty Mountain Fants, she breeds Eurypletus fantasticus. And the evenings are when she does the most of her work. And if she heard me start to record, she would immediately try to be quieter, or she would take a break so as to not create noise for this vlog. And that's no way that I want to do that to her, because the evenings are when she needs to get the work done. So you know what? I'm going to go out and back where she won't hear me, so she'll never know that I'm filming, and she can just get her work done. And that's okay, because out here we can hang out. Let's see. You can see I'm gonna lean back here so the camera will take a look at these are my passion flowers. This is Frederick. This is not Frederick. I didn't name my passion flower. That's the variety. And this is where the passion fruit comes from. But let's go ahead. I'll get out of here. Hey, look at that thing. It is a beautiful vine. And so, and I really love it when the passion fruit comes in. I get harvest passion fruit every year. Okay, so let's say what's going on in the chameleon world. First thing, if you remember, we were wondering what that thing I saw under the microscope was, and I couldn't identify it. It was too big for coccidia, but it looked kind of coccidia-ish, so we had to take it to the vet to get it professionally done. So it was sent out to the lab, got the results back, and it is a protozoa. It is Entamoeba coli, and so this is the kind of thing that is taken care of by metronidazole or Flagyl. So that would be the treatment. Now, I need to be very careful about how I do the treatment. A number of my shamrock chameleons that I treated with metronidazole have lost their appetite and they just don't eat anymore. This is one of the possible side effects of metronidazole. Now, I'm not 100% sure that it's from the metronidazole, but right now it tracks. So I am being very careful at how much I treat for parasites now. And I'm only going to be doing it if it's an absolutely raging parasitic infection, because right now it's important to me that my shamrocks start eating. And I've got a number of them that just have stopped eating. And I want to get them eating before I mess with their system anymore. And that's a side effect, a possible side effect of metronidazole. You got to be really careful with that. With fenbendazole or Panicure, which is the medicine that we use for nematodes, worms, parasitic worms, pinworms, hookworms. There's a lot more safety in Panicure or fenbendazole. You can go over, and it's not going to be as hard on the system as it is for metronidazole. So the shamrocks may just be more sensitive to it than, say, a panther chameleon. We've got to understand that our veterinary medicine is what we're doing is we're taking all the studies made for dogs and cats, and we're diluting it down to try to make it effective for reptiles. And that we don't have a whole lot of studies on medicines for reptiles. And so we're all really just trying to figure it out. And every chameleon is going to be different. So if the shamrocks are a little bit more sensitive to it than the panthers, the veterinary medicine is not going to know that unless an individual veterinarian has experience with this particular species. So anyway, I'm going to be very careful as to how I treat it. I'll let you know the results. Really, what I'm looking for is that my shamrocks start eating again. I mean, some of them are eating just fine. But I don't want to mess that up, and I got to get the other ones eating again. That's something that's big on my list. So, okay. Now, this week, we are starting my season 9 of the Chameleon Academy podcast. So, the schedule now is that every week there's going to be a podcast episode, and it's going to release on Monday. And as you're saying, hey, wait a minute, this is Monday. This is a Monday vlog. Yes. So we're going to have a vlog in the morning, and then right after the vlog, we're going to have the podcast episode. And so you'll be able to have your morning touch point with chameleons. And then if you want to, you jump right into the podcast episode, which is going to be a meaty topic. In these vlogs, I just talk about life in general. On the podcast episode, we're going to be talking about a serious topic. And in this today, right after this, it's going to be changing the future of chameleon breeding. It is talking about how we can use small batch breeding concepts to change the way we do breeding. And not only for the chameleon's sake, but for the breeder's sake and the community's sake. So it's a topic that is substantial. And I invite you to listen to it and give me some feedback. And if you're on your podcast, you like to listen to podcasts, it will be on the regular podcast feeds, and it'll be out early in the morning, 2 a.m. Pacific. That's 5 a.m. Eastern. So if you're listening to it on your commute, you've got it. But it will also be released as a YouTube video right after this vlog. And so you're going to get the same information. It's just going to be released later on YouTube. So on podcast days, you will still have your morning vlog. And that's going to be 10, 15 minutes of just hello, touch point, and this is what's going on. Then you get into the podcast. Now, I do want to give you a preview. Small batch breeding, I think, it's a concept, but if we can leverage that concept, we can substantially change how chameleons are bred. And the way we're going to do that is by raising awareness within the community. You, we, everyone have to talk with our wallets. So we, the buying public, have to know what the value of buying a baby that's been in an enriched environment raising through its hatchlinghood. If we talk all about how it's great to enrich chameleons and blah, 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 but we buy the cheapest panther that's available, then we're saying with our wallets that, yeah, we like talking about these big fancy words, but we're not willing to pay for it. And we have to realize giving chameleons an enriched environment as they're growing up, giving them their own cage as they grow up is expensive, and it takes a lot more time. And that money has to come from somewhere. And so we need to be willing to pay for it. We need to be willing to demand to pay for it. And not that we go and say, no, I'm not going to give you 200. I'm going to give you 300. And that's not what I mean. What I mean is that you are searching for breeders that are providing the level of care that you insist your baby panther receives. And you need to be serious about it. And when I say you, I mean we, everyone, all of us. We need to be so serious about it that we check for that in a breeder, and we don't patronize the breeders that don't give that level of care, because you're always going to find somebody who's going to do it cheaper. And if you have a breeder that is putting all the time and expense into raising up individually raised and enriched baby panther chameleons, but we're not willing to pay the money for that, then our words are meaningless. And I got to say, now is the time to really take a stand. And the reason why it's more important now than maybe before is because now people are trying it. There are breeders out there that are individually raising panther chameleons. There are breeders that are looking to give more enriching environments for the panther chameleons they're raising up. Now is the time to support them. Now is the time to say, yes, you are doing it right. Now is the time to show the other breeders that these are the standards that we want in our community. And yes, it's going to take money. We're going to have to pay extra for it. But chameleons are not a necessary good. They are a luxury, and we should be willing to put our money towards making this a better community. So feel very strongly about raising standards, and we're in a position where we can do something about it. So now's the time to dream a little and make it happen. Now, as we're talking about small batch breeding, there's no coincidence that the enclosure line that I have designed through Custom Reptile Habitats, the arboreal line L and XL, is actually designed with small batch breeding in mind. The reason why these enclosures are 3 feet wide, they could have easily been 4 feet wide, is because I believe that is the perfect compromise between bigger is better and being able to comfortably fit things in a standard house. I will not discourage anyone from buying a bigger enclosure, but this, I believe, is the perfect compromise for panther chameleons, shamrock chameleons, especially carpet chameleons. The one species that it may be too small for is a Parsons chameleon. Christopher is okay, but the Parsoni, that gets a little bit big. We want a bigger enclosure for them. The arboreal line through Custom Reptile Habitats has the features that we need to provide a enriched environment. It's got the branch anchors that allow you to put live plants up where the chameleon can use them, the branches across so the chameleons have nice perching surfaces, and it has an area for a bioactive soil. You don't have to go bioactive. You can go naturalistic, but you can see how the dimensions were specifically designed to fit within the small batch breeding concept. Now, this week in the vlogs, I am going to be building up the Chameleon Academy Arboreal L from Custom Reptile Habitats right here. And yes, I've got to figure out what I'm putting in it. And right now it's between an emerald tree boa and a shamrock chameleon. And I'm leaning towards a shamrock chameleon because I think that would be a whole lot of fun. And my Arboreal XL, it's looking like it's going to be getting isopods, dart frog, a Fantasticus, and a Brookesia superciliaris. And I've done those interviews with experts in isopods and dart frogs, so I can be sure that I'm doing it right. And you, of course, will be able to hear those interviews. This week, Friday, I'm going to be releasing the interview with Russ Wilson of Aquarimax. So we're going to be talking about isopods. And then the week after, the Friday after that, I'm going to be releasing an interview with Troy Goldberg, and we're going to be talking about dart frogs. And then the Chameleons and Coffee live show, after their interviews, they're going to be on live. So this next Saturday is going to be Russ Wilson talking about isopods. And then the Saturday after is going to be Troy Goldberg talking about dart frogs. And you're saying, oh my gosh, Bill, that is insane. How do you keep that all straight? Well, I'm going to be putting that all in the newsletter. So I'm going to be putting it all into an email. And so to sign up for the newsletter, just go down into the comments below. I have a link. You can sign up for a newsletter and then you'll get it in your email inbox and you don't have to remember all the stuff that I just said. And yeah, I kind of need that email too. Okay, it's time for me to go in. I'm going to go ahead and edit in a bunch of pretty pictures so you don't have to just see me sitting here as a hooded figure in the rain enjoying humidity here in California. And if you want more chameleon goodness this morning, the podcast episode is going to be coming live right after this. Just go back to the channel and find where it says premiere and click on that. And I do want to remind you that we in the Chameleon Academy have a special coupon code at thebiodude.com. If you use the coupon code Chameleon10, the number 10, as a coupon code, you get 10% off of what's in your cart, except for a certain cages that they've got. And so it's a win-win-win. You get 10% off the shopping cart. I get credit for it, and we're all happy. Thank you very much for joining me here. I'll see you next time.